Hey guys, good to see you. Hope everything's fine. Mic working, video working. Let me know. And the little voice whispers jump. Nah, we'll talk about like why the title is as it is. But I mean, you can kind of see why it is. I mean, it's just not looking too pretty, but I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Duck bullish or bearish? Place your bet. That is the question, huh? I mean, I'm still leaning bearish, but I mean, I'm not short anymore. I don't feeling better. Nope. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll manage. Not tired anymore. No, I'm not tired anymore. I just got really got bad cold. So no, I'm not tired, but I have other issues. But it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about me. Audio video good. Thank you very much. Before we start the show, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is as always FTX, formerly known as Blockfolio. If you do any kind of mobile phone trading, I think they are the place to go to. So if you want to do that, you should definitely check out the links in the description. And even if you don't, they have some cool stuff on offer with regards to like lending and all that cool stuff. So can only recommend checking them out. And yeah, that's that. You're still in your XTC position also because of the dip? I'm still in. I haven't even looked at it. It's not big, so yeah, that's rough. Actually, almost back to break even. Like I bought somewhere in here, so we'll see. We'll see if it starts losing that again. Starts looking really bad. And I mean, Bitcoin looks pretty rough. So let's talk about Bitcoin first, and then go through the list. Should I slurp? I mean, I can't recommend right now, but we'll see. Monthly is still looking like complacency bounce, right? You don't want to see like moves like this where you break new lows. So right now that's not confirmed, right? It's not confirmed that it's a complacency bounce. But if we start losing 30, it would be, and then it starts getting dicey real fast. So monthly is still looking kind of shit. The weekly, I mean, we talked about on weekly open, and I said I really don't like that we closed below support last week, and yeah, still not looking too good, right? You want to get back above 45k. At that point it starts looking good, but as long as we're trading below there, it's just like I don't trust any of this anymore. For me, like the closest really good support would be like in the 19 to 25k range, like undercutting this here. But like I said, I closed my shorts. Like I shorted I shorted in here, and I closed my short down here, and now it's actually below where I closed my short at, but I don't mind. Like we're still at support, right? As long as 40k holds on the daily, not looking too bad on the daily at least. But the reason why the title is Bitcoin at the edge of a cliff is because we've tested the support so many times and there's nothing below it, right? So I would guess that if we start losing it, we probably just start breaking down fully. But I mean, I'm down for the kind of like breakdown into reclaim, but I wouldn't want to be buying down here. Like I'd much rather buy into strength above 40k again, rather than buying into like 30k levels. I know Cred wants to buy 35 really badly. I'm not gonna join him. If anything, like if I want to buy an extreme dip, I'm gonna be buying it at 23. Otherwise, I'm gonna be buying strength. So send it on. Are we bullish? Right now, I think like no, mostly because the SPX has been behaving really shitty. That looks really bad, right? Reason for that is the lower low and the lower high, right? So you had a high here, you made a lower low, now you put in a high, excuse me, that looks just bad. And crypto is just gonna follow the traditional market, just how it is. So you're not gonna have much fun kind of counter trading the traditional markets. And as long as that keeps making lower lows and lower highs, I mean, it just makes sense to be a little bit more risk off on crypto. So I mean, that's like the easy version. The one thing that I do not like is that we've been testing 40k for like a million times, and that's not something that you usually want to be seeing. And yeah, I usually would short this, but nowadays I'm just more than happy to just be flat buying NFTs, because that's the new best thing when the market is boring, I guess. And the more NFTs I buy, the lower the market gets. So if I buy some more, the market just crashes to 23 and I get to buy 23 again. So I can just conjure a dip for me to buy. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Any thoughts to the massive bid wall around 37k? No, not really. You have massive bid walls and ask walls all over the place, and it's really hard to judge whether they're psyops or if they're real. And most of the time, it's like once you get there and once you see like whether they're actually staying there and people are actually trying to buy it, then you can kind of make your decision. I don't like to kind of make that beforehand. When did you come around to investing in NFTs? I mean, when all my friends kind of started NFT projects, right? So Loomdart started the Wassies, and then a couple other friends started the Space Geckos. And yeah, I don't really mind investing in friends, right? I'm not biggest fan of NFTs in general. I think most of them are going to go to zero eventually, but that's not really far different from most of the alternative coins, like pretty much everything on this list besides like Bitcoin, ETH, and then a handful others. So yeah, it's just another trade basically. But the reason why I'm buying them is basically because they're like, even if I'm involved, the money goes to my friends. So worst case scenario, I get fucked on NFTs and then my friends made a bunch of money. So hey Don, what happened to the WWG? What do you mean? Sorry, I'm not fully there. Can't think on my toes. I can't figure out what WWG means. What NFTs are you buying? Just Wassies? No, a couple more, but I'll share it at some point. Not right now though. Like my worries with sharing any of that stuff is that it's mostly highly illiquid and I can pump and dump it, which I don't want to do. I'd much rather just buy and then just do my own thing with it. I'm in Germany and I'm paying 45% of my gains. They basically take half my gains. How do you deal with it? I just deal with it. The first time I had to pay it sucked really bad because I was like, holy shit, I made a shitload of money this year. And then it just took half. And I'm like, fuck, it's not that much money anymore. So yeah. But in general, like we are at support right now, right? And if we start getting back above 42.2, or if we start getting a bit on the traditional markets, and I mean, the good thing is when we're kind of starting to go down because of the traditional markets, the thing is the traditional markets in general like tend to go up only. So the moment the SPX starts drifting back up above the highs, bull market's back on, and then that might translate into crypto catching a bit again as well. Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm hoping for anyway. Just some strength, and the moment we start getting back about 44, 45, I think we're in for another big leg. So while I think like, yeah, it's easy to be bullish here, I think it makes more sense to be bullish about 42.3 or like 44.5k, because at that point you have much more going for you, right? At this, like right now, it looks like we're testing support over and over and over again. Buyers are gonna run out at some point, most likely anyway, and then it goes down. And even like if you buy this support, it starts going down and you get stopped out, it could reverse instantly, and then that's where I want to get in, and you just got stopped out at the bottom. So for me, it makes much more sense to just be cautious a little bit, trade other stuff that's moving better, and then until Bitcoin kind of shows strength, just leave it alone. Do you expect another leg up? I think the most likely scenario still is that this is a complacency bounce. Hate to say it, but I mean, just feels like it makes sense. We talked about this for weeks and weeks. Where it's like, this is a macro high and this is a macro lower high, right? I think that's the most likely scenario. But if that gets invalidated, that idea, I think we're just in for massive moon mission. And the idea would be starting to get invalidated above 45. And that's not too far away, in my opinion. Like if you start rallying upwards here, go maybe above like 46, if you're like super cautious. I think then you have like a double top here. That leads into a breakout probably. And then you have a double top here. And then that might lead to a dip, but eventually it would go up, right? So there is a world in which this turns out bullish. It's just, I don't want to speculate on that unless I'm shown some incredible strength, because right now it looks incredibly weak, right? So just calling for caution, basically. Not saying this has to break down. I'm just saying like, I'd much rather buy like a massive shakeout to lower levels or strength. There you go. Hey Don, will FTX accept my kids as collateral? If so, does the academic, Jesus Christ, standing affect how much I can borrow against them? I don't think they do that yet, but maybe you should DM Sam and ask him about it. He's known to kind of offer strange pairs, so if you ask him nicely enough, maybe. Hey Don, I checked all the previous complacency bounces. The previous ones have formed between 15 to 25 days. This one's already 146 days. A bit too much for complacency. I disagree. I mean, this rally has been a different one as well in general, right? The bigger a market becomes, the longer it's going to take to play out, right? So when crypto went from $1, or like Bitcoin went from $1 to 1K, you can have that move really quick because the market cap is tiny, and then you can have that retrace really quick because the market's still relatively tiny, right? Now, when you have Bitcoin rally from 1K to 20K, that's gonna take a longer time to play out most of the time. And I mean, this basically, like it rallied relatively quickly still, but like the bear market afterwards took longer. And I think in this case, when we rally basically from 10K to 60K, if this turns into bear market, it's going to be the longest bear market that we've had yet, I think. So in general, I'm expecting this market to slow down considerably the higher it goes up. I've seen counter arguments where people are like hyper Bitcoinization or whatever, but really doesn't seem realistic to me. No one really wants to use Bitcoin. People want to hold Bitcoin, they don't want to use it. So like it running away makes little sense to me use case wise. It's just like people want to hold it to speculate on it, and that's fine. But I don't think like you can, like in general, it's expected for this to take longer. For me anyway. Don, are you buying any altcoins right now? Not really, no. Like I said, I've been dabbling in the NFT space. That's actually yielded quite a bit of money. But then again, like it could be the final stages of the NFT bubble. Like I'm the furthest away from an expert in that. It's basically just, when I'm talking about NFTs, it's like you guys or like the people that like joined this year talking about trading. I don't have any special expertise there. But yeah, I've been playing the NFT stuff, and I've bought a little bit of XTC, so Tezos, because I actually wanted to buy some NFTs there, but decided against it. So there you go. So would you say this is a bad time to be buying NFTs? If we break down, you lose value in your ETH and the market would dry up? No. It's like this weird situation, right? when you have the market like this, right? When you have the market go hit support over and over and over again, and just go sideways or whatever, right? Or when it looks really bad, in this case it looked really bad. The moment it starts actually turning around, like if this rallied, this would have been the best time to buy stuff. But obviously if it breaks down, it's the worst. It's the same here. NFTs are gonna do, I think, incredibly well if the market doesn't break down here. So it would be the best entry you could get if the market doesn't break down. But if it does break down, you're fucked. So basically, you kind of have to make up your mind. You're gonna have to say, okay, I think this is gonna, like, if you expect this, then you're fine with buying NFTs still, I think, because that's not gonna have a major impact. But if you expect this, and it's the same with altcoins really, if you expect this and then a bounce, probably a bad time to be buying anything that is riskier than Bitcoin. But if you expect straight up or like a grind up, then NFTs are probably still a good bet. Because like realistically, it's just further out on the risk curve. So as long as crypto does well, they're probably going to do well as well. At some point, they're going to collapse, most of them anyway. But it's impossible to judge when that's going to be. And I haven't seen like the retail participation in the NFT space as I've seen it in, like, for example, Dogecoin and stuff. Doesn't mean it has, like, it could be that I'm just missing it, but yeah. Like I said, it's not my space, it's not my expertise, nothing of the sort. Nice, Don, thanks. My strategy is to buy when the price will increase and sell when the price will decrease. Doing this allows me to make profit, which increases my capital. Good shit, man. Good shit. So, there you go. COVID cough? Nah, I have a cold, but it sucks. I haven't had a cold in so long. Like, all the social distancing and stuff, like, for one thing, it's done one thing and one thing really well, and that's prevented people from spreading shit like cold. And I mean, maybe it's done a bunch to COVID too, but like the cold stuff I've noticed, because I didn't get sick with the cold for a long time. So this is the first time in a while. Hope you're good, Don. Yeah, it's fine. It's just like the typical kind of, you complain, but it's just gonna be. It kind of sucks because I had plans for the weekend and I don't want to cancel them. But then again, like when you're sick, you're not gonna have much fun doing stuff on the weekend. So yeah. With regards to ETH, I don't think there's anything really there. It's just literally going sideways in this massive range that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks. So you position yourself, if you think it's going to break out, you position yourself long. This is the most neutral point it could be right now. It's pretty much exactly in the middle of the range. So usually if you want to sell, you want to do it closely to the top of the range. And if you want to buy, you want to do it closely to the bottom of the range. Right now it's in the middle. So if you want to have like a nice coin flip, you can buy or sell or do whatever. Not my kind of way to do business. And honestly speaking, Bitcoin kind of does look like a complacency top, but ETH really doesn't, in my opinion. Like this looks much more, and let's just been talking about this for a while now. This looks much more like ETH looked in 2017, where it broke down, and I mean I can turn over lock, then you can see it better. Where it broke down and then bounced back and then broke down again and then went up, right? So like ETH looks much better on the macro. Not entirely sure if that's gonna play out, right? But in general, like I'm not too bearish on this unless we start losing 2K. And I know that's far away, but then again, like we just went from $100 to 3K or 4K. So that's not really that far away, right? It's just retracing a little bit of the move. And if you're holding it, I know that sucks when it goes back down there, but sometimes you kind of have to take that risk. So like if it starts losing this and starts closing below 1.9K, in my opinion, that would kind of make it a lower low. You have a low here, you set a low there, that suck, right? But until that happens in general, like we have support in the 2.7k region. If that holds, you would expect it to kind of curl up, maybe put in a massive wick to the downside here. But in general, like you would expect it to head up again. The more often it tests the 4k region, the better, basically. Don, who's walking around your apartment, he hears stomping sounds through my headphones. Ha, you'd like to know, eh? Not sharing. Can you have a look at XTC? I mean, there's not that much to say about it. It's just going sideways at the top of the range, right? I bought it. I tried to get it as low into the range as possible last week. It bounced really strongly, and now I'm getting fucked again. If it starts losing this range, I'm just gonna get out on the Bitcoin pair. I don't really care about the USD pair too much. So yeah, there you go. There's not that much there. It's just sitting at the top of the range. Flippening at action. I mean, if you say that, everything's gonna dump. You can't use the word flippening. It's forbidden. It's the most dangerous word you could say. Link looks really bullish on the weekly time frame. I disagree. This looks shit. This looks really shit. Like you're talking about this. I just disagree. Like if you wanna make a comparison, it just looks like, I mean, it just looks like it making lower highs. I mean, I had Link, I sold it. I'm pretty happy that I sold it. I mean, maybe it goes up, but like this is really bad. I hate when stuff does like a sharp pump and then retraces all of it, and that's currently what's happening on the weekly time frame in here. I don't like that at all. You can see how that like usually plays out when you get like a sharp pump retraced, right? You get this, look at these two weekly candles, it retraces, and the moment it gets below there, it just fucks off. That's basically the exact same thing that happened pretty much anywhere in this chart, right? Every time you see like a massive green candle that gets fully kind of engulfed by red candles, and I mean this could pull up here and make a higher low, whatever, but if it starts like closing below the origin of the move, I'd expect it to kind of start rolling over again. I don't like it at all. But I think like in general, like everything that relies on ETH just kind of has been sucking because the fees have been so high. So it makes sense, like, right? You can't use ETH. Why would you use Link? Just makes no sense. Will there be a head and shoulders on Link? I don't really do the head and shoulders stuff too much, but yeah, I mean, if you want to make a comparison, you could say that that's a head and shoulders. And if it starts breaking down, I would target like way lower. So not really the biggest fan of Link. And the one thing that I hate more than Link right now is Dogecoin. Like when you have Dogecoin look like this, really hard to be bullish on altcoins in general, right? This has been like the fan favorite. Look at this. It's just pitiful. And I think Dogecoin has a long way to go. I've been talking about Dogecoin for weeks and weeks and weeks on the show now. I think there's going to be a lot of pain in Dogecoin. And maybe it breaks down, rallies big time. Like I've talked about this, like when we had this breakdown here, where I was like, maybe it does like a big rally, but that's a rally to sell. I could see the same thing happen again, and then you have a high here and make a lower high there. It starts bleeding out again, and it goes back to 200 sats. That's kind of where I think it's headed anyway. And like, if you look at this chart and you think this is not that bad, I mean, just turn our log chart and then look at like this loss, right? That's against Bitcoin. When you go against USD, the Doge holders got fucked royally, right? So, not biggest fan. I mean, it's just Dogecoin. Dogecoin getting overtaken by greedy people that have nothing to do with the original vision. And with regards to like having these massive pumps that get full retraced, yeah, You had the same thing here where you have massive rally and then you start shaking out below it. You don't want to see that. Can you please check Link USD? I'm in a mega short and would appreciate some high time frame bearish opium. Link USD. Now you're kind of shorting into support, honestly, on Link USD. As long as this holds, it's actually not too terrible. I mean, it looks really, really shit right now, but it's at high time frame support. So it's either gonna break down fully here or it's gonna bounce. So do with that whatever you must. But like if I had to take a choice whether I want to be shorting here, like doing a new fresh short, or whether I would long, I would want to long this. But given I don't have to take either of those trades, I'd just rather not trade it at all. But if you want to make like a high time frame kind of thing, you could argue for head and shoulders, whatever. But for me, the support is more important. As long as you're not trading below the support or like closing below it, I'd be careful. But what you can do if you're like from way higher is just see how this week plays out, and if it starts closing back above 24, I think it's gonna be a bullish probably. So that's your invalidation on the higher time frames. Link is going up or down. I mean, that's the thing, right? When you ask me about the coin that I'm not trading, most of the time it's gonna be like the answer is gonna be up or down, because like there's a reason why I'm not trading it, right? Like I'm looking at whenever I see, for example, for Bitcoin, if you asked me a couple days ago where I think Bitcoin is gonna go, like in here, I said down. I think it's gonna go down. Now that I'm not in a short anymore, I'm not saying I think, like, it kind of does feel like it should be going down, but like I'm not in a position, so I have like not enough conviction to say, okay, this is gonna go down or up. So I'm saying if it goes down, this is where I'm gonna buy. If it shows strength, this is where I'm gonna buy. That's kind of like, you get what I'm saying, right? There's most of the time there's no trade for any of these coins, right? You don't want to be trading 24/7. You want to be trading when you think you have an edge. And most of the time you will not have an edge. And if you're not patient enough to wait for the edge that you do have, you're just gonna lose money in the long run. So like most of the time, indeed it could go up or down, because most of the time you just don't know. The dollar index is up quite a bit in the day. Crypto seems to be holding up well to that. I agree. I commented on this yesterday, where the SPX just mega nuked and crypto kind of held up pretty nicely. And it's the same thing today where dollar just mega moons and crypto is holding up somewhat okay. The only problem that I have right now is that you can see how often this low has been tested. So even if it wants to go up, it shows some strength, I could see it rate all of the lows and then go. So like even if it rallies here, I'd much rather buy into that strength. And even if it breaks down here, I'd much rather buy into that strength. So you see me buy at the same area, no matter where this plays out. Not necessarily saying I'm gonna buy 42K, but that kind of general area is interesting to me. Because if you start flipping that again, we maybe have another shot at like going up in general, right? Because I think if we start losing 40K significantly and start trending downwards from here, that's basically bear market territory, right? And I've been talking about bear market, like that the possibility is there that this is indeed a bear market, right? I tweeted about it a couple times. We talked about it on the show. I think if you start losing 40K significantly, you are in basically a bear market. And yeah, so for me, it's kind of like time to chill a little bit. If you're buying NFTs, don't go all in. I'm already feeling bad because I've put too much money into it. But like I said, for me, it's kind of like, it's play money. So yeah, there you go. I mean, for me personally, I hope we're going to bounce from the support. It's just not looking too strong. If we expect 23K Bitcoin, when do you exit all altcoin positions? Are there some you hold through? I'm not holding any altcoins beside XDC right now. I think anyway. Might have something somewhere on any like on an exchange that I've forgotten about, but nothing really significant. If I had altcoins, the thing is like some of the altcoins like AVAX and stuff, like the AVAX ecosystem has done incredibly well, right? Even though Bitcoin's been struggling. So if you have like an edge somewhere there and you're trading those, I mean, keep doing it. It's just for me, like most of the time I don't trade altcoins. And when I see like a good setup on an altcoin, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to close it relatively soon after. So if you ask me like that question, most of the time it's just not going to be in altcoins. But if you expect this to break down, and if like I'm 80% sure that this is going to break down and go like very, very deep, you don't want to be in altcoins. Makes no sense. But you kind of have to make that decision for yourself. You're going to have to figure out, do I think this is likely to break down or not? And because I can't tell you. And oftentimes, like if you have a strong altcoin, before it breaks down, it's going to be strong after the breakdown. So sometimes you'd be annoyed. Like let's say this breaks down to 30K and it bounces back to 38. You could see an altcoin that starts out up here, that breaks down completely and then completely moons past the breakdown point. And you're annoyed because you sold. But that's just how the market works, right? So like if you have something significantly outperforming the market or whatever, you don't have to necessarily close the positions. You got nice wassies. I checked your wallet. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I have a couple. I don't actually know how much they're worth right now. Like maybe 20, 25 ETH or something. So not that much. But like I said, I'm just more than happy to either win or lose together with Lundart. And I think it's like, as far as NFTs goes, decent play. So that's why I hold a couple. Hi Dawn, I have quite a lot of positions on altcoins. Considering the situation, do you think it's best to convert most to Bitcoin and stablecoins first? Like I said, it depends on if you think it's going to break down or not. If you think it's going to break down, you want to be risking off. If you think the traditional markets are going to break down, you want to be risking off. If you think this could break down but immediately recover, you don't need to sell your altcoins. Right now for me, I'm not sure if this is going to break down and recover. I'm not sure if this is going to break down completely, or I'm not even sure if it's just going to go up from here. I know that if it does any of these, I know what to do, right? If it breaks down completely, I'm buying down here. If it breaks down and recovers, I'm going to be buying. If it rallies from here, I'm probably going to be buying, right? So like no matter where this goes, I know what to do. But right now at the support, like if I had to make a choice right now, if I wasn't along from like the support, I'd probably close it. Because I don't long the third or fourth test of stuff. So if I got in along by chance and I retested my entry for the third time, I sell the next bounce. It's just how I trade. But I could be selling the bottom at that point. But like I said, I don't really care. I want to be buying into strength, or I want to be buying into like a massive wipeout. I don't want to do anything in between. And right now it looks like an in-between thing. $38K not too relevant for you? No line or box in your chart? It's relevant for cred. So I think it's probably going to do something because cred stuff always does something. But for me, like I know that I wouldn't be buying 38K, so I don't need to have it on my chart, right? I don't know if you guys have the same, but it's like when I have stuff on my chart, I try to have only stuff on my chart that I would trade off of. So right now, if we go back above 42.3, my bias would start flipping into the bullish side of things, and I would risk on, maybe not buy Bitcoin, but buy altcoins or do something else, right? I would know that the market wants to like go up further. That's why I have the line on the chart. And then I know like if we go back above 44.5, I want to be buying. But like if we go to 38, I don't want to buy that. It kind of confirms another lower high, and I would not buy that. But I would buy 24, 23. That's why I have that on the chart. So like it all depends on whether I would buy something or not. And most of the time, those, like, it's a good level. I just wouldn't want to do anything there. And it could be the bottom. Like I said, like cred has it, and cred stuff always performs really well. It's just something I couldn't do much with. On a slightly different note, China equities like Alibaba are trading at a huge discount to their valuation. Would you be willing to dip your toes there? Nah. China stuff is too far out of my comfort zone. Like, I don't know what's going on there. I'm much more comfortable with Western stuff. If I see a huge nuke, I'm down. But that's probably not gonna happen. So like it's the same with like housing and stuff, right? You're not gonna see me speculate on housing too much. Like if I'm gonna buy like a house or two, it's gonna be for my own use. It's not gonna be because I want to speculate on it, because it's not my area of expertise. Do you know the rationale from Cred to buy 38? Yes. It's basically just wipe out everyone that longed this off of SPX weakness, and then the SPX generally tends to go up, so it's probably going to reverse some, and then you get some strength. And I mean, 38 is just a really nice support level. And the thing is, like, if you don't buy 38, where do you buy, right? You can't really buy down here. It's like, I mean, you could buy for a wick or something, but like in general, like let's say we start closing below 38, you start having a really ugly chart. And then you don't want to buy 32, you don't want to buy anything. So whenever there's a big difference between like the next support you want to be buying and the one where price is at right now, you usually trust these more, because most of the time it doesn't pay you to kind of bet on full-blown market destruction, and 23 would be, right? So if you're like betting on complete and utter doom, most often you're not going to make money with that kind of attitude. So basically what Cred's been doing is, okay, I know like this level is, I mean, it's a decent level, but it's not that good. But I know that's the last level that I can buy before 23, 24. And if that's the last level, I'm willing to kind of take the short, because if it fails, it's going to go to 23. So I totally get his reasoning, and I think it's a decent level. It's just for me, I don't want to greed for these 8% or like these 10, 12%. If I think a move afterwards would be of like 50% magnitude, or if I'm buying here and I think there's going to be a 40% further drawdown from there. Like, that's not worth it for me, but I totally get why people want to buy 38. And I don't think it's the worst idea ever. So, what do you think about the volumes right now? I don't really look at volumes too much. Okay, give me a sec. Selling volumes are getting really low, near 45k, 40.5k, so maybe swing near 38k and bounce from there. What do you think? Yeah, that's basically the assumption that Cred is making. It's just, for me, it's not good enough. You said Cred looks at 35. I think he's looking at 38, but I'm not entirely sure. We talked about it, but like I said, I'm not at, like, my head's yeah, my head's not quite there, so I can't remember shit. I mean, it can still work just fine. It's just my memory is just completely gone right now. I mean, people that have watched Cred in the last few days should know. Like, can anyone tell what exactly the level this Cred is looking at? I think it's 38, but could be lower. Could you see a scenario where it goes to 24k and then gigabounce instead of a long bear market? Yes. I mean, I think if it goes to 24, it's gonna bounce to like at least 35, maybe even 40. But in general, I'd wanna be selling that bounce. Because then, like, let's say we do this, right? I'm gonna buy it here, sell here, and let's say it starts rallying and kind of shows strength. I wouldn't have a problem buying back here again. And then I miss out the second leg of the rally for the super cycle idea, right? But I don't mind that, because in general, what I would expect is it starts bleeding out here again if it goes that low, right? So like for me, the moment you made this high and this lower high here, it's basically you want to be buying the supports, you want to buy the wipeouts, and then you want to be selling resistance. And then if it shows resistance, if it shows strength through resistance, you can just trade that, right? And then you're gonna miss out the moment it starts turning bullish on some of the bullish momentum, but that's just part of the game. It's just how it is. Buy a nuke into 35 to 38k. So there you go. 38 to 35. That's kind of the area where he's looking at. And like when I say 38, I mean like candle closes, right? I think if this breaks down, you're gonna more likely than not see like a massive wick to the downside, and then it starts going like towards like half of where it went. So like let's say we break down from 40k, goes to 33, 34, maybe 35. Then it goes to approximately half of that candle's nuke, right? So let's say this is the big candle. It's gonna go to approximately bounce to the middle of it, I think. And then it's either gonna close up there, so you're gonna have the wick down below and the close above like 38, and that's gonna look somewhat okay. Or it's gonna get rejected there and then you're fucked. So I think in general, like expecting a bounce like in that area makes sense, or like a wick, but it's just like, it's the question, do you want to hold on to that or not? Cred always bets the extreme, yeah. I mean, Cred's just really good at catching knives, same as I am. I'm just usually buying the extremer knives than he is, but he gets filled more often. So I don't know what to make of so many buys each time we touch 40k. What do you think about the Bitcoin ETF as well? Coinbase tweeted yesterday. I have no strong opinion about that. Like it's coming eventually. I just no idea when. I wouldn't want to speculate on it. Don, can you explain why going to 45, 46 means up instead of crabbing? Yeah, so in general, what we've done, we've made lower highs the entire way down with momentum to the downside. Now, if we go back to 45, 46, what we do is we invalidate this lower high. We make a higher one. And we also invalidate the bearish momentum, because this market is all about momentum, right? You have momentum down here, then you have short time frame bounce, and you have momentum down again. And you would expect in general, I can do this on a clean chart, so it's a little bit more obvious. So you would expect this to do something like this in general, right? But if it starts kind of breaking this, like let's say it breaks this and actually instead starts heading up again, then you can say, okay, the momentum to the downside has broken, and it's probably gonna trade higher. It's not a guarantee, but in general, that's kind of how this market works, because there's not that much fundamentally driving this thing. It's just like speculators hoping for up or down. And then the moment you kind of have, like you pick your direction, people get on board when it's bullish, and they buy and buy and buy, and they buy more, the higher it goes up. And the moment it starts going down, people start selling. You're gonna find sellers. Like that's the funny thing. You might not be finding sellers at 40k while it's going up only, but you're gonna find sellers at 40k that are really, really happy to sell at 40k when the momentum's actually starting to turn down. So the reason why I'm saying like if it does start going back up again, it's probably gonna go up more, is because that's gonna like kind of invalidate this down momentum and kind of put in, instead of saying, okay, we have downwards momentum, what we actually get is we have upwards momentum, right? And then like this is just what it needed to kind of reset, and then it heads back up. Hope that makes sense. I mean, that's just how I look at the market in general. It's all about momentum. It's all about like actually showing people whether there's strength there or not. Because funnily enough, when you see strength, like when you see other people buy, you're gonna buy. It's how the bigger players play this game most of the time. So if you see strength, you're gonna see more of it, and if you see weakness, you're gonna probably see more of that. Do you look at fear and greed index? No. You can have the fear and greed index at completely fear, and then like basically you had your fear and greed index down here, as far as I remember, completely at the worst that it could have been, and then it went down 40% still, and you have your greed index that's at the highest it can be at like 7k, and it goes to 14k, and I could bet that this rally was completely full of like the index being full on greed, but I haven't looked at it. So it's like not, this market just trends incredibly strongly. So like it can stay oversold or overbought longer than you can stay solvent basically. So yeah, that's my view on it. I think I'm gonna call it. Talking is pretty a struggle, but it's been fun. Appreciate you guys coming by. Big shout out to FTX for sponsoring the show. Like I said at the beginning of it, they have the best mobile experience that you could have in crypto, so definitely check them out. And I mean, with how things are going, they're probably gonna own the entire world at some point, so might as well build a credit score with them. But no, if you want to check them out, links are in the description. In general, appreciate you guys coming by. You're the best. Like the video if you liked it. I've been told that kind of does something. So yeah, if you want to do me that favor, do it. If not, also completely fine. And we'll see each other maybe Friday if I'm still sick. If not, I'm gonna be on a date. So yeah, that's that. Thanks for coming by. See you guys next time. Bye bye.